Baseball. Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and I miss talking about baseball. But I mean, hey, it's almost March, so certainly baseball is right around the corner, right? MLB Owners and Players Association, my hostility is aimed in your direction. Anyway, we're not going to be sad. We're not going to be sad. We're going to be happy. We're going to talk about good things. We're actually going to be positive, right? Because, like, I love talking about hockey, and I love talking about I love talking about hockey, right? So, like, it's fun, but man, the statistics that you get to dive into, I'm a stat nerd, and everyone knows that. And, like, just the piles of statistics that baseball provides is, oh, it's my dream, and it is easily my favorite sport to talk about, and I have been missing it, so we're going to talk about baseball. This video is my top 5 Astros going into 2022. Now, quick little timeout and addendum. Correa is obviously not on this list because he is not currently an Astros player. We don't know that he's going to be, right? So if he doesn't resign, the list stays the same. If he does resign, put him at the 2 slot on the list and knock 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, right? Just, that's out of the way. I'm not going to make another, like, video if Correa resigns to, talk about the top 5. This is the video. So now, without further ado, let's talk about the actual top 5. So coming in first at number 5, the mini-goat himself, Jose Altuve. Okay, you guys remember 2020? Yeah, I've repressed most of it too. Anyway, the baseball portion of it was bad for the Astros. They finished below 500, and, a main reason they were pretty bad was one of the best players on their team was terrible. There's no other way to put it. I love Altuve. I think that's pretty well known. But 2020 Altuve was awful. Slashed 219, 286, and 344, yuck, with a WRC plus of 75. That was terrible. He rebounds in 2021. He slashes 278, 350, 489, a 130 WRC plus, tying his career high in home runs with 31. He also was fantastic defensively, right? Because in 2020, he was a liability in the field. There's no other way to put it. That being said, rebounds in 2021 goes from 4th percentile and outs above average and -4, outs above average. 2021, 89th percentile and had 5 outs above average. He was one of the best defensive second basemen in MLB, not just in the American League. Could have maybe won a Gold Glove last year at second base. Altuve was back and as good as ever in 2021, and hopefully he continues to roll into 2022. He's my number 5 Astro going into it. Funnily enough, we transition from the 5th spot, which is my favorite position player, to the 4th spot, which is my favorite pitcher on the team. Lance McCullers Jr. is my number 4 Astro going into the season. 2020 Lance, solid player, slightly above average, like a 115 ERA plus, an ERA like at 3.93. Pretty okay. He wasn't bad. He was just slightly above average. 2021 spring training, they give him a nice long contract extension, pay him, 85 over 5 years, and a lot of people criticize it for some stupid reason. And then Lance says, hey, I'm going to have the best year of my career. And he does, easily. 3.16 ERA, that was second among qualified starters in the American League, right? He was fantastic. By the way, if you remove one game from it, and that was the game he should not have started because it was right after he had the COVID vaccine, and Dusty Baker said he could barely stand. He also had to get multiple IVs after the game. Drops his ERA from 3.16 to 2.90. Granted, he would have then not become a qualified starter, but still, I'm just going to put that out there that he would have been sub 3 had he not been in that game. Last year, 185 strikeouts, which was a career high, a 136 ERA plus, again, career high, led the league in home runs allowed per 9 innings, led the league in hits allowed per 9 innings, and man, if he hadn't had a walk issue last year, he might be my 3rd or even 2nd Astro going into it. But man, the walks killed him. I want to say he gave up like 85 walks last season, which led the American League. And so that obviously brings up the FIP number a little bit. But man, no matter how you want to slice it, Lance was elite last year. He was a fantastic starting pitcher. He was our rotation's ace. And he is easily my number 4 Astro going into the 2022 season. Number 3 on the list going into 2022, Yordan Alvarez. So like, you guys ever kind of just forget how unbelievably great Yordan Alvarez is? Yeah, so do I. He is a beast. He's a tank, right? Last season, I didn't even realize all of these numbers, but 97th percentile in exit velocity and hard hit percentage, 92nd percentile in expected WOBA, 95th in expected slugging, 91st in barrel percentage. He hit 33 homers and low-key, he also had 35 doubles. He was just cranking out extra base hits all year last year. He had a slick 139, or 138, excuse me, WRC+. He is a destroyer of worlds, and he's projected to have another monster season in 2022. All of the projections on Fangraphs, Zips, Steam, like all of the good projection things, they're just expecting him to shred the league apart. And by the way, in case you forgot, Yordan, he's 24. Like, he is so young. He's only going to continue to get better. He's not even near the prime of his career yet in power. And, it is just, I am just so excited for another full season of Yordan Alvarez going into 2022. I don't know if you can tell. Also, I'm going to throw out a hot take real quick before I move on to number 2 spot. Yordan's going to hit over 50 home runs in 2022 and have over 35 doubles, so nearing that 90 extra base hit mark is going to be my prediction for Yordan in 2022. I think he's just going to be insane. At the number 2 spot, we switch back to pitchers from position players. We have Ryan Presley. After a very hot or cold 2020 for Presley, where his hots were fantastic, but his colds were very icy and not in a cool way, he returns to being not just elite, but one of the best relief pitchers in baseball. I would say he was 3rd behind probably Josh Hader and Liam Hendricks, league-wide. I mean, he was magnificent in 2021. ERA of 2.25, FIP at 2.06, expected ERA at 2.55. He lit up Baseball Savant's percentile rankings. Expected ERA and expected WOBA were in the 97th percentile. He had elite swing and miss stuff and had the best curveball spin rate in Major League Baseball. No exaggeration. He was in the 100th percentile, and I mean, he was just beyond elite in 2021. Now, before we move on to the 1 spot, I want to congratulate myself for finally getting the number 2 spot clip recorded. That was the 16th try, which is the record for most takes to actually make one clip in this channel's history. Oh, man. I don't know why I had so much trouble with that, but anyway, now on to the regularly scheduled number 1 spot. And now, without further ado, my number 1 Astro going into 2022, pretty easy, Kyle Tucker. He was a very good player. You know, he was good in 2020, right? Very solid season. Then he broke out and became a sabermetrics darling in 2021. He was fantastic. And it didn't start that way for Kyle Tucker, right? He was perhaps the most unlucky hitter on the planet through the first 5 weeks, right? The first 5 weeks of the season, from April 1st through May 9th or May 8th, he had a 57 WRC+, right? That's bad. And this is also what I want to talk about because I find this interesting. In 2021, he finished with a hard hit percentage of 47.5, which is very good. From April 1st to May 8th, it was at 45.2. So for the rest of the season, it didn't really go up that much, right? It went up by just a hair over 2 percentage points, which isn't crazy. So he was hitting the cover off the ball from day 1. No doubt about it. He just stopped getting unlucky. Because from May 9th onward, he did a lot of catching up. And boy, did he. He would finish the season with a 147 WRC+, which would place him 7th in Major League Baseball. You want to know the 6 players ahead of him? Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, who won the MVP, Fernando Tatis Jr., Juan Soto, Vlad Guerrero Jr., and Bryce Harper, who also won the MVP. That's not too shabby company. And remember, WRC Plus is a rate statistic, right? It's not a counting stat where, you know, oh, well, you know, it was not great that he had a slow start, but at least he was able to, you know, keep counting on it. No. He dug himself into a deep hole in the first 5 weeks having that 57 and still rebounded to have one of the best WRC Plus league-wide. Because from May 9th onward, he had a 174, which was the best in Major League Baseball. Not Harper, not Soto, not Ohtani. No one was better than him from May 9th onward. After that 5th week of the season, he was the best player in Major League Baseball. And I specify the best player, not the best hitter, because what's that? You want to talk about defense? Guess what? Elite there too. 89th percentile in outs above average in Major League Baseball. One of the best defensive right fielders. One of the best, maybe the best offensive right fielders. He hit for contact last year. He hit for power. He was great on the bases. He was a stud out in right field, guys. He's a 5-tool player. He's the front runner for team MVP again going into 2022. And, man, he might just be the dark horse for the American League's MVP. And, man, if he just starts out of the gate hitting well, it is going to be silly to see the numbers that he throws up there for 2022. And I am so excited to watch him continue to grow. So there you have it. Those are my top 5 players going into 2022 for the Astros. And then there was some good news today, or at least the day I'm recording this. Players and owners had a nice 4-hour-long meeting, so maybe the lockout can end kind of soonish. That'd be pretty nice, huh? But I also am thinking about, I wanted to mention this, right? I'm thinking about doing a positional grading for the Astros from 2021, so the infield, the outfield, and then the pitching staff. So I'm going to be working on that as I go along. I'm not going to say they're coming out any specific time because I don't really know when I'm going to make them, and I don't even know when I'm going to put this up. But there's still some baseball stuff in the works. So that is all I have to say for this evening. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day, and I'm very happy to say this once again. Go Astros.